So, to follow up on Armageddon, which, again, one of probably in my top 5 movies all time for nostalgia factor. I am going to go back on one of the statements I said in a previous episode that Lord of the Rings 1 is my favorite movie of all time. I was wrong. My movie for this week was Twister. Now, for all one of you out there watching this right now, hopefully more, you may either love Twister or you treat it like Nickelback and give it perpetual hate that it doesn't deserve. Really, this movie is about a bunch of friends going out chasing tornadoes. Yeah, they have a drive, yeah, they have motive, but really, you know, you can tell that they all love each other and that they're like a family. And you know, when you look at them, like even the outfits, like they're wearing jean jackets, and they've got the multicolored umbrellas, and they've got the station wagons, the campers that go on the beds of the trucks. Like you've got all of that stuff. And honestly, it seriously just reminds me of when I was camping as a kid. It reminds me of the kind of things that my parents would talk about. It reminds me of all of that. And another thing that I should say about this movie, I watched this movie every Saturday morning for the first 5 or 6 years that I moved out to my second house in the country. My mom loved this movie. We did chores every Saturday morning. We would put on Twister, eat breakfast while watching this movie, and then we would go do chores with it on in the background. We always thought it was funny because we'd be vacuuming and the Twisters would be going on. But honestly, when you look at this movie for what it is, I find no faults. Obviously, I get a chance to do a final rebuttal after everyone's through and through with talking about the movie, so I'm just going to kind of open it up. So, favorite movie of all time?
Well, Derek picked a solid choice this time because, strangely enough, Twister was the movie that I watched over and over and over again, like dozens and dozens, if not almost 100 times. When I was in like first grade, second grade, strangely enough, Twister is also my favorite movie of all time in terms of like nostalgia and stuff. I don't know if I can really explain it, but it's just, everything about it is just so wonderful. I love the characters, I love the story, and it has what I love in a more disaster movie. It's smaller scale, it focuses on a smaller group, and just like a smaller scale thing instead of just a huge ensemble. So, it has everything I love in a disaster movie, and it's got the nostalgia going for it. It's the music, the dialogue, the characters, everything about this movie is amazing, and it's one of the few movies that I would consider a perfect film. I absolutely love Twister, and it's my favorite. It is my favorite. So, yeah.
Wait. Jonas.
Son of a bitch!
Who is that, honey?
Jonas Miller, he's a night crawler. We all started out in the same lab, and Jonas just went out and got himself some corporate sponsors. He's in it for the money, not the science. He's got a lot of high-tech gadgets, but he's got no instincts. And he doesn't have Dorothy. Yeah.
Sorry.
Had to do it.
There you go.
That's how we became friends.
And that is how much we love this movie. Because that is not the only part that we can do.
Yes.
Alright.
Well, my reaction was the same reaction that Ryan had from Armageddon. I felt like it was overhyped, and it was an alright movie. There's nothing really that stood out that made me excited for it. I would watch it again, and I probably will, because this is the first time I've ever seen it. So, I don't know, I just wasn't as excited as you guys were. about it, but I didn't really find anything that I liked about it.
I too watched it as a kid growing up, not nearly to the extreme as what you guys.
But Billy is the extreme.
He's the extreme.
Okay. I'd probably seen it like half a dozen times just throughout my childhood-ish area, up until this point pretty much. And it is a really good movie. Not too many faults that I can point out. The only two things that I've found when watching it this time is that there weren't, and I kind of, mainly just because I was pointing this out at my movie, but there weren't too many emotions felt during the movie, other than like the comedy and like the intensity of it, like during the chases. Otherwise, I didn't feel much that there was like much to be lost, if you could say that. That's a very minor point. And then another very minor point that I just noticed is that the tornadoes never, every time that they encountered a tornado, whenever they like passed over them or was like engulfed in them, however it would have been, it immediately just disappeared. And it was just like, oh, okay, done. Like, it never like...
How was only 3 of the 5 tornadoes that did that? Thank you very much.
Okay. But scientifically, I don't think that that's how it would have happened. Which I'm not going to fault it because of Armageddon.
We
Yes,
talk about
we talk about-
scientific...
That's why I'm just... That's why I'm just pointing it out.
Yep, no, you're good.
That it also applies to this, where it's very convenient how it worked like that.
Yeah.
Where it just up and oh, it's gone now that it finally reached us.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I did like about it was how every tornado got bigger.
Yeah, the progression.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those very minor things. Others, it is a very good movie.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to repeat all the stuff that you guys said because you guys obviously just destroyed it with compliments. So.
All right. So for final words, I would agree with Josh that, you know what, ultimately in the grand scheme of movies, this movie doesn't have a whole lot at stake. They kind of address it in the movie that it's really just 15 minutes that they're fighting for. Almost like a Geico commercial, but not really. Ultimately they just want to improve the warning system for tornadoes to help save lives. In the grand scheme of things, that is not Armageddon. Hell, that's not even, Dante's Peak. But I would offer, after seeing this movie, again, like what Ryan said, I mean, I don't know if I'm at 100 because, when you think about the context of a movie, 100 times it's a lot, but I promise I've watched it over 50. It's the fact that I can make that promise. I don't want to try and find symbolism where there is none, but each storm gets bigger as the conflict between the two main characters gets bigger. And what's really interesting is that when you get to the F4 tornado, there's 2 of them, and that's like the culmination of the 2 storms of the 2 main characters finally coming together, and then they are able to overcome the big storm together.
So the third one that there was 2.
No. Okay, no. It was the F1, the F2, the F3, and then the F4. The F4 hits the drive-in that they're at, and then the other F4 that's going on at the same time hit Wakita.
Oh, I thought that was the same.
And interestingly enough, the F4 that hits the drive-in, that was the final straw for Billy's girlfriend, Melissa. She leaves him there. That's the storm hitting him. And then the other tornado hits Wakita, which is Joe's aunt, Aunt Meg. That's the storm hitting her, and it finally brings them together again so that they can defeat the ultimate, enemy. The
one that took her father.
The one that took her father, the one that's created so many problems. They can go in and they can defeat the F5 and they can finally overcome it. So I mean, yeah, there are a lot of little conveniences in the movie, but the fact is, like, with the F5 ending over the top of them and disappearing. Like I'd forgive that one even if the other 4 just acted like normal tornadoes. There's a lot more going on in that movie if you've seen it 55 times.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about it so much. But I don't want to beat a dead horse. So all I'm gonna say is that he was naked, but naked, not naked.
It's not naked.
Strolls up to the Twister, says,
Have a drink.
and he chucks the bottle into the Twister, and it
Never
hits the ground.